we try to keep it to like 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, with me, it's just I talk a lot. So like, I don't know if you'll actually hit your 30 minutes. You might be closer to an hour, 30 minutes because
hour
you are
30?
talking to a guy that works in radio.
I know, right?
I mean, 30 minutes. I mean, like maybe if you tell me it's like, all right, cool, answer this in 2 or less sentences, then I'll focus. Yeah. Then.
Oh man, I feel like I just gave a visiting pastor like, hey, you got like 10 minutes, man. What are you gonna do? And they're like, no, I'm not.
No, it's my opening prayer. I mean, that's about it. That's gonna take about 10 minutes, and then after that, we're gonna dive into it. You know.
Yep, exactly.
And then about 40 minutes in, I'll say 10 more minutes, about 5 more times.
And my last point.
And my last point, you know, in conclusion, I was like, oh man, this man has concluded 17 times.
Just getting started. I've been looking forward to this because you sound like a riot just via text. So like I can't imagine on a podcast. So welcome to the Restoring Our City podcast, where we have candid conversations on today's topics that help connect our community. And you got to strap yourselves in for this one. It's a fun and energetic ride with our very special guest, Binoj Jacob, who is an on-air personality with the Big Time out in LA. And he also hosts his own podcast called Never Overnight, which is great. You got to follow and subscribe to that too. But this is a great conversation on taking the leap, a leader in his own right who is making strides in the creative and entertainment industry. And you do not want to miss this great conversation, an inspiring conversation, and really a message to our community to help support folks who take the leap. So do not miss this episode. And if you find this inspiring and encouraging, consider subscribing to the Restoring Our City podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can watch the full versions on YouTube as well, and follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all those fun things. And you can find all that info on our website at restoringourcity.org. Thanks again for listening. Welcome to the Restoring Our City podcast. My name is Jobin. I am pumped to have our special guest, Binoj Jacob. And I have to say, like, your name is basically an anagram for my name, so I hope we don't confuse everybody. Just rearrange the letters.
Yep. This is you might as well just name this podcast Jobin met Binoj.
You're right, exactly. Just run them together. I'm thrilled because this is someone I can learn a lot from, and I think you are doing some really incredible work, Binoj. And I just need to list out your credentials. You're producer and on-air personality at the Big Time with Whitney Allen in LA. And you've got your own podcast, which I encourage everybody to listen, Never Overnight, where the focus is the struggle before the success. So, Binoj, how are you doing, man? How's everything going?
I'm doing fantastic, bro. I'm doing fantastic. It's a lovely day, and I'm excited to do this episode with you because, like you said, I am a riot, and I just feel like I'm really honest and try to be entertaining in all my answers, but also very honest. So, right. So good luck, everybody.
I know, right? I hope you haven't unsubscribed yet.
Yeah.
No, I am excited to have you on because not only are you hilarious and you're great at what you do, I think your story is really interesting too. And I think it's encouraging for folks to hear, right? And so just kind of go at it. Like, where are you from? How did you even get started in just media?
Okay. So for me, like, I was not born in the States. I kind of came to the US when I believe I was like 5 or 6. And growing up in like that, in that type of environment, it was an immigrant household, but it was also, I grew up as a very hardcore conservative Pentecostal Christian. So it was not just growing up and don't go outside because the world is scary, but also don't go outside because the world is sin. So it's like, you know, and so growing up that way, I felt like my childhood was like really, really sheltered, but I was really introverted as a kid. And with most parents, most Indian parents, they come here and they want their kids to accomplish their dreams, you know. And so
your dad's not a radio host somewhere.
No. Don't tell my mom I work in radio. She still thinks I said radiology. So, hi mom.
Breaking
But
news.
breaking, I told you it's a riot. And my friends were like, listen, like something about you is like you're able to laugh in all your failures. And they're like, why don't you just try to make a career based off of your personality? And I didn't think that was even a thing. So what I did is that I got, oh, by the way, I never told you where I'm from. I'm from South Florida.
From South
So,
Florida, living in LA.
yeah, living in LA. Yeah. So this is
Gotcha.
part of the story. I completely forgot to mention this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this is all happening in South Florida where I was raised. I got an internship at a morning show, at a pop morning show in Miami. While I was in the building, I saw sports radio was upstairs. And I went up to sports radio and asked them, all right, cool. Can I also intern for you guys?
Oh,
They
nice.
said, okay, cool. It's free work, but okay, cool. So now 3 times a week, what I ended up doing is and this was like 40 minutes away from my house. So 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. I interned, slept in my car for a couple of hours, then went
Hmm.
back in the building, worked from 1 to 3, and then went home. I did 2 years of work to be on air. It was in kind of like a Spanish dominated market, but everyone kind of knew me as the person that wasn't speaking Spanish, but I was always like hype. I was like entertaining.
You got the
And so,
energy. Yeah.
yeah, I always had the energy and stuff like that. And at that time, like finally I kind of, I wasn't as introverted as I was before. I felt like I had to upsell myself all the time, but it was just practicing until I actually fully became extroverted.
That's
And
that's crazy. Like, how did you do that? Because like when you said that you were introverted as a kid and then you like
yeah.
switched, was that
Uh,
because you were really grinding to get that position and get hired? Or where did that come from?
I think it was just one of those things where, in terms of the switch of the personality, this is just for me specifically how I did it. Right, when
Mhm.
you are on air, when you're doing radio, you can't really be introverted because you're speaking to people all the time, right? So because of that, it's like, all right, cool. I'm on radio. There's no place for me to be introverted here. I can't just be like, hi guys. So thanks for listening. This is the next song. You can't do that. Like you have to, if like my introvertedness was down here, but the level I needed to be was up here in extrovertedness. So every single time that I went on air, I would upsell or practice to be up here over and over and over again, right? And eventually that kind of blends into who you are. So today where I am, I sound the exact same on air that I would do with you off air,
Yeah.
but it's the practice of that. It's just constantly practicing. Because Miami is like the number 11 market in the country. And at that time, to be completely honest, like I was also financially struggling. There was times like my car broke down to the point where it's like I would work like a midnight shift, but I would leave probably like at 9 p.m. at night because I had a broken down car. And what I would do is that I would drive, is that my car kept heating up. So what I did is that I hit the gas pedal, hauled as fast as I can for like 5 miles. Car starts heating up. I pull over to the side and then after I take the little antifreeze, whatever.
Oh
And
yeah,
I put
yeah.
it in
The
the car.
antifreeze.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I put it in the car and then it goes back to C and then I haul again. And I did that for a couple of times too. So like, I definitely
Wow.
know the struggle aspect of it. I need to know what my worth is out there in like the
Hmm.
bigger markets,
Yeah.
like Miami's nice, but I can't keep doing this. Like
Right.
this thing of struggling, I can't keep doing it.
You
But I
can only
also
buy so
realize
much antifreeze, right?
I know, right? It's like I'm at Pep Boys every other day. It's like,
Right.
what do we, So, but I also realized that in order to go to a place like New York and LA, it would have to take some type of leap of faith for me to do that. So what I did is I talked to my coworkers at that time, and they're like, "Yeah, we wish we could have all taken leaps. You should go for it." And I was 26 years old. I decided, I think August of 2015, that all right, cool. I'm gonna take this leap, and I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna take this leap of January of 2016 is when I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I ended up doing is that I ended up writing all the list of excuses of why I can't jump tomorrow.
Oh, interesting.
And then what you realize is that all these things are just excuses.
Yep.
Like we put these really big things of fear in front of us, thinking that nah, this is not going to work. This is not going to work because X, Y, and Z, right? But at the end of the day, if it's just like, and I'm just saying this as a single person without a family, so this is just me speaking my own thing, right? And I just saw it for myself. It was just a lot of excuses. So I decided August of 2015 that I'm going to shift my way to California. September 10th, exactly 1 month later, is when I actually left. It was when I took that leap of faith across the country. Yeah. And I landed in LA without a job, without a car, without family. I kind of just started from scratch.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I landed here and I just struggled.
I mean, like, maybe we could pause there for a second, because that's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to hear the story. But like, first thing that I want to know is like, what was like the biggest fear on that excuse sheet?
Having no place to rest my head. Yeah. I was just like, all right, cool. Like I need a couch, God. I need like, give me some, I don't need a bed. I need a couch, you know? And so it was a situation where like the biggest excuse for me was definitely, where am I going to rest my head? But once that door is open, is like, I have nothing. Everything else I can figure out on my own. Like I'll eventually hustle and struggle my way to it, but I'll figure it out.
Wow. Yeah. So like security and just having that sense of home in a strange new place, it seems like got to get that resolved, but that's still incredible. It's still incredible to do that.
I could have moved to LA, like the number one homeless situation in the country, and I myself be homeless.
Yeah.
So
right.
I just wanted to make sure there was a roof over my head, because I don't mind failing at jobs or not having a car, but if I could at least have a place to rest, then that would be cool. So yeah.
That's pretty amazing though. Like, I think even people struggle with that, just the ability to fail, right? Like, hey, I'm going to try to apply at a job and just fail. Like, where did that come from? Where did that resolve come from?
I think, dude, I mean, as a person that was like introverted, I don't want to come off as a person that I'm this risk taker. Like I'm not. Like I try to pro and con just about everything to, you know, what's the right decision and stuff like that to take. But I mean, as cliche and as basic as it sounds, you'll eventually get to a point where you're just like, why not? Like, what do I have to lose? You know, the thing about life is that we don't know when it will end. Like we have no idea. This could be, as sad as this sounds, this could be our last conversation, because we have no idea when this thing is over, right? And because we have no idea, I believe we owe it to ourselves to be the best version of ourselves possible. That's it. And wherever that path in life may be, could be a husband, could be it could be as a father, as a wife, as a daughter, whatever it be. You owe it to yourself, because life is so short. You owe it to yourself to be the best. Constantly try to be the best version of yourself. Fearing failure is just like, why not? Like, what, you know, failure is a 4-letter word, and there's other 4-letter words, you know, like love and hope and all these other things that, you know, we put meaning behind it. Right? Love is not just love because we put our experiences and a meaning behind it. And we define that's what love is. Fear, at the end of the day, we put meaning behind that too. But if you strip it down, it's just a 4-letter word.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. And I feel like even just your exercise to write it out and like put it out there, then it almost diminishes the meaning of fear. Maybe when we actually look at it practically, right? That's awesome. That's really encouraging to hear that, because I think a lot of folks might be in the, you know, I don't know, the pros and cons list. They might be actually in the middle of writing their pros and cons list on something. But so you get to LA, you know, you're in the entertainment industry, which I think a lot of, I think we're still, it's safe to say we're underrepresented as Indian Americans in the entertainment industry. So like, what was some of the just, I don't know, experiences or challenges for you as Indian American radio host or personality? What were some of the challenges that you experienced?
For me, challenges, a lot of nights just crying, you know, and just being sad, because you don't want to admit, you know, when I left my home in Florida, what I told my parents was that, listen, I believe in my personality so much, I'm going to take this leap of faith. And, you know, and I don't even know if I believe my own words at that time, right? Because you're going to this unknown. Yeah, I don't know if it's as, you know, specifically Indian American. It was just like struggles as just a human trying to be out there, trying to make it, and trying to trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, because it's just like, on those struggling nights and those struggling days, you're just like, man, you don't want to go back home, but you're just like, man, I have some faith in you, God, but man, if you could just show me something.
Right. Give me a little light, right?
Just give me a little something.
So you're there, but then you obviously saw the kind of curve go up a little bit, right? Like, because now you're on air and you're being in the creative space. Like, not a lot of folks are in the industry where they want to be in, but you're there. So where did you start to see the momentum shift for you being in LA?
I think what I've always done in my career is just be kind to people and work ethic. I think it's always been constant since I've started. I never burned any bridges, nothing like that. I've always, no matter who you were, what your status was, I could care less. Like, I smiled, I hugged, I shook hands. And I think doing that over and over again and being genuine about it, not just using people for a certain means to an end, I guess. But and then that constantly, when that kept happening, eventually doors of jobs was opened for me, because it was just like, oh, there's Binoj, Binoj he's always here, always willing to work, always whatever. Let's just give him a shot. I think I don't know when the specifics of the momentum happened. Sure. I think it was just one of those things where I just kept being myself over and over and over again, where doors just eventually just opened by itself because I kept showing up, and being nice. Yeah.
I think that I hear that a lot, where one of the keys to emotional intelligence is being warm, being friendly, as opposed to just being the smartest guy, right? Like, if you're warm and kind to people, we can work with that, right? You don't have to be the super intelligent MIT guy.
No, 100%. I can tell you right now that, dude, I am not, and for your listeners, I'm telling you right now, I'm not the smartest kid. I'm not. Like I said, I'll say it again, 2.0 GPA in high school. And I'm brown. So let that resonate. How much does that not make sense? Just being warm and kind to everyone, I think that can get you a lot further than being the smartest person in the room. Sometimes it's just being the kindest.
Yeah, calculus doesn't get you everywhere, apparently. So no, I think that's you've been talking about your personality and obviously being in the entertainment industry, but the internet, social media, lots of personalities out there. How do you stick out, and how do you actually make your personality shine?
I have no problem saying I don't know.
And that's a fair answer.
This one, it's because I've seen it, because we live in a world of a lot of likes and a lot of follows, but we also live in a world where a lot of that is not genuine either, so in order to stand out, I think for me, as cliche and as basic as it sounds, you just be yourself. It's not about reaching out for these things that are just kind of materialistic. Likes are cool, recognition is great, all those things are fine, but what you do in life is really just based off of your actions, and the legacy that you leave is not even up to you. It's really based off of what other people know about you. The reasons why we're doing this is bigger than that. I could care less if my act of kindness could get 2 likes. It doesn't matter. The act of kindness still happened. So I would hope that when people are genuine, people are kind, and people just live that way without the cameras being on, I hope that the recognition comes out in those moments. And that carries a lot further than trying to, I'm not trying to stand out. I'm just being myself. And if it happens to stand out, then great. And if it doesn't happen to stand out, I'm still going to be myself.
Yeah. And I so appreciate that answer, because I feel like there's so many people who are trying to mimic something else to get this, I don't know, get trending or whatever. Right. And maybe authenticity is really the key to being like a staple, right? Or the longevity and
Hmm.
success. It's like, just be yourself, right? Like, it's so
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't make no. Once you start making expectations of how you want things to go, I think you might be disappointed.
Yeah.
But when you're just yourself and comfortable with whatever the results from being yourself are, then the other stuff just doesn't matter as much. Like, yes, yesterday, just an example. Like, I'm part of a church where we did an outreach the other day, and I wasn't planning on turning on a camera at all. Like, we had to take a group photo and stuff for the church, but I wasn't planning on turning on a camera at all or anything like that, right? But then there's this one guy that like came through the laundry and was like, "What are you guys doing?" And I was like, "Oh, we're paying for people's laundry today." And then he like puts me on his Instagram or something like that, and I think he has like 10,000 or something followers or whatever. But he's just like, I'm here. I don't know this guy. So he's like, I'm with Binoj. He's part of this church, doing this, giving back to the community, whatever. And I was like, all right, cool, man. I appreciate it. But it's like, so that's just an example where
Yeah.
I didn't go into that situation thinking that, man, how are we going to look? Like, where the image is going to go? Like, what are the right angles of this laundromat that we have to
Right.
get? Like, to me, it was just like, today I need to make one person's or one family happy. That's it. Because people just go into situations like that, maybe on their last coins, and they want some clean clothes because they have a job interview on Monday, right?
Yeah.
But then imagine if someone from a church comes up to you and it's like, listen, I'm going to make sure your laundry is taken care of. Can you hold this camera and take a photo for me? No.
Wow. Yeah.
Because it's just that act of love and just like you said, the authenticity of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's key for, I think, our listeners and I think our generation to know, because it's
Yeah.
kind of scary of like how the internet and social media can really shape personalities and like almost
Mhm.
make you think success is one way, and when it's not really, it's very fleeting, right? um
Yeah.
so like, even just thinking of success, because I don't want to like dismiss that, right? Like, I think we all aspire and have ambitions to be successful in our industries, right? Like,
Hmm.
how does that look like for you? So like, what's kind of the ambitions, and like, what does success kind of mean to you, maybe in your industry or for you personally?
I mean, I've really stripped it down, man. Like, I know all my answers sound pretty basic, but sometimes people just need to hear some really basic stuff
Yeah.
just to get through. And for me, I think I've experienced the struggle of not having a job, of being really depressed and crying a lot and not having any friends, and loneliness in LA is like a monster in itself, or loneliness in a big city is terrible. And I kind of changed my perspective because of those days that I struggled. I guess when I was much younger, success was more like, all right, cool. What are the accomplishments? What are the awards? What are things like that I can get? And then when I went through my struggle period of like the depression and the anxiety or just sadness and stuff like that, I kind of changed my perspective of success, because then success to me came like, all right, cool. When I am making other people's lives better. The best part for me in my job and what I consider successful is making listeners laugh, making my coworkers laugh, being entertaining for my friends. Like, I I know other people may not see success that way, because it's such a thing that seems so natural. But
Yeah.
I find beauty in it. I find beauty because the world sometimes is a very sad place, you
Yeah.
know, and with the things that we're going through, this past year and stuff like that, like, the world could use some laughter, and to me, the fact that I'm able to work in radio and do that, the fact that I'm able to have friends and celebrate with them and celebrate their successful moments and stuff like that. That's, to me, that's what I find is successful, and I have been successful so far. In terms of the outlook in my career, um, as of right now, I mean, I've done radio for like 8 years of my life, and I'm kind of open to see what the next door is.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool being a brown person in radio. It's quite different being a brown person, specifically in country music, which I never saw happening in my life. So success is really just making people's day better. You know, like if you right now, if I made your day better by being on this podcast and being on a platform for making telling people to chase their actual dreams, the things that they're scared to do. If me and you are able to impact this current generation that way, guess what? You're successful and I'm successful.
Yep. I resonate with that so much because I like, we don't know each other that well. We got connected almost like a month ago or so, and I feel like you've already made me laugh several times already. And I feel like you're the type of guy, if somebody just randomly comes into an elevator, you're gonna try to make them laugh. Is there like people in the entertainment industry that you're mimicking, but like cultivated your style from? Like, who are some of those people in media that I don't know, you find as inspirational, or you maybe take a little creative juices from?
Oh, dude, like none of them are radio people.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like when I was, I don't know how old I was, but when we all saw Russell Peters on a stand-up comedy stage, I was just like, wait, you know. But I had no idea I was going to be entertainment back then. But it's like these when you're a kid, like these little images just kind of stick in your head throughout life. And like now looking back at it, you're just like, oh, like those things meant to me, those things meant something back then. Like when I was fortunate enough to like meet Russell in like 2018, and I didn't ask for the photo, nothing like that. It was just like, listen, dude, I don't know how many people are telling you thank you, but I'm telling you, for my brown people, thank you. You know, thank you for opening the door for people like me to just think that it's possible to, I don't do comedy, but to think that it's possible for people that look like us to do something like that.
Yep.
And, you know, and I don't know how many brown people thank you, because they all want, you know, a lot of people want photos or whatever the case may be. I just need a thank you. And then he wanted to take a photo after I said thank you, but still.
He asked for the photo, right?
He's like, we should take a selfie. No one tells me thank you. So I think like the way his confidence was from back in the day, the fact that he had that, a confidence like that is important to me, you know, not the specific jokes or anything, but the fact that he had confidence. And I also look at the really motivational stories, you know, that's what inspired my podcast with Never Overnight, where it's like, you know, like we look at people like Steve Harvey and like Oprah and these famous actors, where it's, you know, we tend to focus on, because we only see their success and we only hear about their gossip and their stories and the movies and stuff that they're on. But we don't know these people struggle to pay rent and we're living by like a candle. You know, like the podcast that I have is literally called Never Overnight, because we tend to think people are overnight successes, but fail to realize that nighttime is darkest at 4 a.m. You know, in our own life, like we are going to have struggle. You know, and by the morning, people will be like, yeah, I'm not successful. But listen, 2 hours ago was my darkest time. It was entertainment people that made me laugh and made me think and made me cry, and all these different, and these stories, you know, those are the things that I drew from, where I'm just like, all right, cool. Like, thank you guys. Like, you guys may never meet me in this lifetime, but thank you guys, because different parts of you are in me, into the way I speak and the way I act.
Yeah. And I think there's a generation coming up behind us who are seeking that, right? Like I've had some conversation with folks who are like, I wanted to get into this industry. I wanted to get into that industry, but there's nobody who looked like me, and there's no inspiration to draw from. And maybe you can be that for somebody else, and they're going to ask you for a random photo one day. Maybe I could take a selfie with you later. But seeing how you're in media and entertainment and doing what you do, but you also have a very positive outlook, right? And I do want to kind of talk about how your faith has played a journey into your role, and like how it's got you here. How critical has that been for you through this entire like story?
Oh man, you're gonna make me cry on a podcast, man. Faith is just about everything. Like it's every, I don't even know. Like, it's just, I can't even describe like how important it is, right? Those nights and those days where I struggled, there was constantly a voice or just a presence where it's like, listen, this is a bad day, but it's not, like, it'll work out, you know. Like, life is still going to go on, tomorrow's still going to happen, the sun's going to rise, and we're going to work again. When you have faith in a higher purpose in life, and when you have faith in God, and knowing that, like, he'll just be like, it's not like what I'm doing is just, it's not for any of this that's like materialistic or anything like that. It's just like what I'm doing. It's like, my calling is to make others happy, and that's it. And the reason why I make others happy is because, well, I have faith in happiness, and I have faith in God, and I have faith that every single one of us, the lives that we live, it's just, it's just, they're just a bigger picture, and that's really what keeps me going, and if I didn't have that, I don't think I would have even left. Or took this leap to LA. I wouldn't, because it's just like, this doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
like, you don't move from one city with a job, no matter how much you're struggling, to another city without a job, without transportation, without family there. Like, those are things that you kind of just, you took it all away. And then, so what's the answer? Well, the answer is God. Like, I'm going to lean on to God, knowing that I don't have any of these things. And my faith has gotten, listen, man, I grew up conservative, Christian, Pentecostal kid that was in a bubble, and like, all I did was just Sunday to Sunday to Sunday. It was just over and over and over again. But I faked it for so much of my life. Like, I faked it really, really well, and after 2015, when I moved here, that is probably the time where I've gotten closest to God more than any time before, and this is coming from a kid that just wasn't Sunday, like, left and right, grew up in that, but I never felt close to God, and I never felt close to anything, even though I was constantly in it. Like, I was in a family that went to the Saturday mornings, to the Friday nights, the Sunday mornings, the Sunday nights, like the midweek, just about everything. Like, how many times are we going to have church? Like, why can't I do anything else but this? And there's just, like, why do we have the church keys? We are not pastors. And it's just like, so then you just do this over and over again, to the point where it's just like, I don't want to do church like this. Like, this is not my answer for church. But after I moved here and I struggled here and I've been alone here, that's when I got a lot closer to my faith. That's when I got a lot closer to God. It came in those struggles. It came in that sadness, So, my leap of faith was all faith, and me getting here just about every single step of the way was just, it was just God first. It was just God just like kind of leading the way. Like, there's luck, and there's work ethic, and all these different things that are really important to the formula. I don't want to just be like, this is the answer, and the rest is gonna. No. All these other things are really important, but you cannot forget the fact that you can't forget the role that God plays in it. Because without it, it's just like, it's meaningless for me. It's like meaningless. That's really it.
Yeah. No, that's super powerful to hear, because sometimes we think we're super close to him, and maybe we're really distant, and it really takes the struggle for us to see him a little bit more clearly. So what's up next for you? What's on the horizon? What can we do as a community to kind of support and just kind of help follow and be a part of your journey?
So, I mean, it's just other things that I want to do in life. I think for me, like, my purpose in life is entertainment. So the passions is just about be on every different platform as possible. Binoj might be a stand-up comedian one day. Who knows? Binoj is also a songwriter. Yes, he is. But yeah. So, Binoj works in radio. Yes, he does. He's going to be as many platforms as possible for me specifically, because it's just like, well, why not? Like, why not try it? I'll fail at it. Cool. And what? Life is still going to go on. I think what we need to do as a community is, like, don't shut down people's dreams, man. Like, don't, and I'm speaking maybe to the aunties and the uncles, and I might be speaking to, whoever I'm talking to. don't shut down the kid's dreams. You know what? If that kid's gonna dream on his own or her own, if that kid's gonna fail, let the kid fail. But let that kid fail. Don't be the reason why the kid fails. You know? And that's something we gotta find the difference in. As society, what we do, and in the brown community, I feel like what we do is just like, there's so many times parents like, yeah, that kid's doing something different. That's cool. But here's what I want you to do. Like, that's cool what they're doing, but you're my kid. Like with me, I was not empowered from a young age because I was told many, many times that, you know what, this is what you need to be. You know, this kid, this auntie's kid is this. Why aren't you like this? You know, I was told that over and over again, to the point where I thought if I was not that, I was a failure. Like I had nothing to offer to the world because I wasn't following the norm. So when that is drilled into you over and over again, you eventually think, what is wrong with me? Like, why is it not clicking? Because in my head, the only answers to be is an engineer or a doctor over and over and over again, because you hear it, whether it be your parents telling you, whether it be preachers talking about it, whether it be uncles and their friends talking about it. It's always this thing where it's just like, these are the norms for our community, right? So even if you're not trying to listen to it, you end up listening to it.
Yep.
You know, and I just think, I know it's weird. Like, I know it's weird to support a kid that dreams to be his own thing or to be her own thing. I know it's weird, but let it happen and just see what happens. Because maybe, just maybe, your kid might succeed. And then what will happen?
Like,
yeah,
I totally understand what you're talking about. And lessons to all the uncles and aunties who've probably figured out what podcasts are and are listening to this and are totally surprised. Joke's on you.
Yeah.
Guess what you signed up for?
Where this is a dreamer podcast.
So, I mean, I think the lesson out there is like, if you see Binoj at an open mic night, and you're in the audience, you better laugh or fake laugh. I don't know what you're doing, because you need to support his dreams. Dude, I am so excited for what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years. And just like, I think we all should just be aware of your name, not for like the fame or the likes or the clout. I feel like it's because you're setting an example for the community of hard work and passion and following your dreams and trusting in God, most of all, because I feel like that's the path that kind of we all should be on, no matter what industry we're in. So, Binoj, thank you for being on, man. I appreciate it. And I'm excited to just kind of follow your path and your journey.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Guys, there's 2 hours left of this podcast. I'm just kidding.
This is Kanye West and Joe Rogan. This is literally us. We are part 2 and part 3 coming up, guys. We're gonna take an intermission. We're just gonna have the curtain.
It's halftime.
Man, I feel like we do need a part 2 or a part 3, but Binoj, I appreciate you, man, for being on, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode. We really hope you enjoyed that conversation with Binoj. It's a great, inspiring conversation, especially if you're thinking about taking that leap. Don't hesitate and trust in God, and don't fear, and don't make excuses, right? So we hope that inspires you. And if this content does encourage you, consider subscribing. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can watch the full versions on YouTube as well, and engage with us on our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And you can find all that information on our website at restoringourcity.org. Thanks again for listening.